Hey guys, PLV here and welcome for another video. Here on this channel I'm sharing and documenting my journey learning music production from the start so that you can learn with me, and today we're gonna talk about arrangement. I often hear some of you telling me that you are struggling with arrangement to take your ideas into full songs, so I'm going to give you 5 tips on how to create the arrangement of your dreams and keep your music interesting. From FX, cuts, transitions, fills, automations, we'll cover everything so that you can finally take that tiny little loop into a full 3-minute song. So make sure to stay until the end of the video so you don't miss any tips. Let's go! The first tip I would give you is to use reference tracks and analyze them. It's really the best way to learn from the best. When making your arrangement, you need to know what you're aiming for and what you want for the song. So for example, if you want to make some feature-based songs, just grab a few songs from Illenium, Set the Sky, Slender, and just analyze them. To do this, I usually download the song and then bring it inside FL Studio and use markers to mark each sections. This way you'll see exactly how they arrange the song, and you can take the ideas from it or even recreate the exact same arrangement. That's what I did to come up with the arrangement for Still Alive. I did this with a few songs, as you can see, here and here, and it allowed me to see how they were arranging it and which part was after which part, etc. And yeah, it's really helpful. To make your markers, you just need to hit Alt plus T, and then you can write anything you want. You can also slide it, and yeah. One of the things I learned from Kaigo is to start my songs by creating the most important part first. So by this I mean the drop or chorus first. The idea and theory behind that is that if you get the most important part right and all done, you pretty much have your whole song there, because the last thing you need to do is just distribute all your elements to make a song. Of course there's a bit more to it, as adding variations and stuff like this, but you should have a really good base to start your song from there. If we take the example with Summer Nights, you can see that here in my drop, it's the part with the most elements, and all the elements that are in the drop, you can find them as well in the other parts of the song. It's just more spread and less elements in each part. As you build your song, you add more and more elements until the drop, so to arrange your song, just do the opposite. Take away elements to create your arrangement. Then of course, add some variations here and there so it's not so boring and repetitive. For example, in the first verse, you can see that I don't really have any drums, I don't have a kick, but in the second verse here, I actually keep a few drums, and especially the kick, to keep the energy going and make it different. And it's the same for the drops. The first drop is just a normal drop, and the second drop I introduce a new element at the end, which is a whistle, just to make it a bit different from the first ones. I find this technique being really efficient, although the other day I was watching a live from Illenium and Set the Sky, and at the end of the live stream they were saying that they actually do the opposite. They start by doing the intro and breakdown to get the vibe of the song first. But they also said that when they were first starting out, they were also making the drop first. So I guess that the lesson to get there is that when you're a beginner, the pros seems to recommend to start with the drop because it's the most hard part to get right, so if you get it right, then you can make a song from it. So another thing to keep your song interesting and going are transitions between each part of the song. You can use some FX and samples of impact, cymbal transitions, some uplifters. If we listen to the transition without those effects and samples, it sounds pretty boring and unpredictable. But if we play it with it, it really gives it a sense of moving forward. I get most of my FX and samples from Splice and other free sample packs that I found on websites like Cymatics or the Producer School or Idiom Prod. Like, there's many, so just look around and you'll find some. Another trick I like to use for transitions is the reverse reverb. Let's take our piano here. I'm just going to add a lot of reverb and record the last chord for a few seconds using Edison. Then I bring it to the playlist, reverse it, and we have a little piano riser. Like this, it sounds really abrupt, so to make it a transition, you just have to add, again, a lot of reverb to it. And now we have a nice transition for our breakdown.
And I'm breathless, waiting for you to save me.
Another thing that you can do to introduce the listener's ear to a change coming up in the song are using automations. The ones I use the most right now are the volume automations or low pass, high cut filters. For example, here in Best of Me, I slowly start to introduce the drop melody in the build-up by automating a low pass filter on it. And in the song, it sounds like this. And one of my favorite tricks for arrangements is to make some cuts. It really helps the dynamics to like just cut all the elements in your song, just to like stop it a little bit, leave the suspense, and then putting back everything and going for that big release. So here, right before the chorus, I cut, meaning like I remove everything except the vocal chops. So instead of sounding like this, it sounds like this. As you can hear, it's way more dynamic. Here I'm just playing with the tension and release. I use this technique a lot before drops, and I usually keep just like a snare roll, for example, or vocal chops in this case. Now here's a bonus tip for you as a thank you for staying until the end of the video. It's another one that I actually learned again from Kaigo, where he's saying that you have to grab the listener's attention as soon as the intro. And most of the time you would do this by putting the main element of your song in the intro a little bit. Let's say that your main element is the lead melody. Put the lead melody in the intro, but like just a few notes, or put a big filter on it to like tease it but not revealing everything, just to tell the listeners that something's really good is gonna happen in the middle of the song. Same if it's vocal chops, and you can even put like a little part of the most dynamic part in the intro like as soon as the song starts, so that as soon as the song starts, you grab the listener's attention. And I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I was able to bring you some valuable tips, or that you found this video somewhat helpful. If it was, please don't hesitate to like this video and consider subscribing for more videos coming every 2 weeks on Sunday. It also really motivates me to continue. And also leave a comment on what type of content you would like to see here on my channel. If you have any specific ideas or subject that you would like me to cover, please let me know. Thanks again for watching. Your support really means a lot to me. I appreciate you all. Keep learning, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.